Well, hello and welcome to the Power of 12 Wednesday weekly word. This is your 12-minute midweek infusion with Debra and Dena, and we focus on one encouraging word every Wednesday, and then we talk about that word and how you can live it out. Mom brings the wisdom about the scripture and everything behind it, and I bring the life's challenges that go with the word as well. So I'm Dena, and our word of the week is calm. We're going to try and stay calm through this. It's been a week already, but I'm going to turn it over to Mom, and she's going to now share the scripture that goes along with the word calm. So, Mom, Debra, all yours.
Okay, thanks, Daughter Dina. So our scripture this week is Mark 4:39, and it says, "Then he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, 'Peace, be still.' And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm." We've all heard this scripture for years and years and years, for those of us who've walked with the Lord for a long time. And we all know the story about Jesus and the disciples being out on the boat in the Sea of Galilee when I guess the Sea of Galilee can really rage storms sometimes. I've heard stories about it. And so here they are out in the middle of the sea, and it's a big sea. It's not a huge ocean, but it's a big sea. There's no way to swim to shore if your boat capsizes. So they're all thinking, we're going to die, we're going to die. And then Jesus gets up and he says, "Peace, be still." And
Mhm.
everything just instantly becomes quiet. And it,
Mhm.
it says there a great calm. So
Mhm.
if you really think about that, it went from being a raging storm. And I know that we've all thought about raging storms. We've all had storms. We just got done having wind blow for 5 days here at my house. And it was just like the trees were just I mean, you could hear branches, you could hear, things snapping, twigs snapping and everything. So a storm can be really, really loud. And then all of a sudden it's just instantly calm. And so I can't even imagine what the disciples thought,
Right.
as for one instant they're going to die and they know they're going to die, and in the
Mhm.
next instant Jesus has just told the storm to stop
Yeah.
and be
Mhm.
calm.
Yeah.
So this is where we have to learn, as people that walk with Jesus, to understand that he has that power to calm storms. And I'm
Mhm.
not talking storms of everyday. He can calm everyday natural storms,
Yeah.
but he can also calm the storms in us. And that's where we have to learn to be people with a calmness about them, especially when the storms are raging, just like when the disciples did. So
Yeah.
it's amazing that we have these lessons that if we can really get them into our mind and into our thoughts,
Mhm.
they will become a helpful tool in
Mhm.
our lives. If
Yeah.
if automatically when something happens, you become a basket case,
Yep.
that's not good.
Mhm.
That's not good, because in situations of life and death situations, you have to be able to keep your composure. I mean, you've got to be able to be there to help someone if they need your help, to be able to to be able to look at the whole scene rather than just completely falling apart and you know um giving up. You just don't do that. And I'm sure the disciples, yes, I'm pretty sure this is the story about when Jesus was asleep in the boat. It wasn't that there was one story where he's walking across the water during the raging sea, but I think that's the story of when Peter joins him out on the water. But
Yeah.
then there's also the storm where he's asleep in the boat. And so they're freaking out because he's asleep in the boat, and they
Mhm.
know they're going to die, and he isn't even aware of it. And then he says to them, "I'm not going to let you guys die." And he and instantly the storm is calmed. So if we
Mhm.
can learn to be people of calmness, and people that learn how to not be so anxious about things and not get overly distraught about what's going on, and to be able to
Mhm.
keep our wits and keep our wisdom and keep our composure,
Yeah.
things can turn out differently. It's
Mhm.
like when we completely fall apart, that's when, we aren't at our very best at all. We are not at our best when we
Yeah.
are, not understanding that the calmness of God brings us peace. And that comes from our faith in him and our trust in him, to know that when, and we talk about storms. In fact, I think your brother and I were just talking about storms yesterday. Whereas you can't, there's nothing you can do about the storms of life that are, these personal things that go on, and things happen. And, I'm not talking about a storm in the heavens or a natural storm. I'm talking about a storm in your life. And so when we can learn to be calm about these things, we can be able to look at Jesus and try to figure out how he's going to handle it, not the way we would handle it as a stressed out human being. We're going to handle it with calmness and with the way that Jesus would handle it. We're going to say, peace, be still. And then we're going to sit and breathe for a minute. And then we're going to let the Lord handle the whole situation. Because there's not anything we can do to change what's happening. We can, there are things that we can change and do something about. And then there are things that there's nothing we can do. So we have to learn to be calm and then be practical and find a way around the storm, through the storm, with Jesus, and know that, it's we're going to have storms our entire life. I think that's what I was telling your brother yesterday, was that these storms come and there's nothing you can do. You're going to have to get through them. And that's all there is to it. I mean, we have today, so let's get through today's storm. I don't know what else to say. There's a calmness that can come that only he can bring, and it's a great calmness. It's something that if you really, really think about it and you really ask him to come and bring it to you and bring it into your heart, it's a wisdom that you can have. It's something that we all can have, but only Jesus can supply it. There's things that go on in life that there's nothing we can do. So we have to depend on him. And that is all we can do, and that's enough.
Well said. I don't even need to say anything else.
Well, it's just I just had to say this because, as old as I am, I'll be 72 years old in a couple of months, and as old as I am, boy, I can tell you, I needed somebody to tell me 20, 30 years ago to just calm down and to just, not be so overwhelmed and so anxious about what's going on in life. Because I tell you, the next 20 years can go by just in an instant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In an It's like that instant there was a great calm. And so if a person can learn to find a way to have great calm in their life at an early age, I can only tell you that that will only bless you and help you, and will take you through the years ahead that are coming, because there's no way around the storms many times.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Well, I think you covered most all of it today. Just the wisdom behind the scripture and the Bible, and the life, you know, applying it to your life as well. I think the only thing maybe that I even have to add is that I think a lot of times people um, think that the calm comes after everything's fixed.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and but the calm, I think, that we've seen just in this story shows us that the calm comes before the storm ends, not after.
Right.
And the being still, I think, is what resonates in the midst of those storms, knowing that the calm is in the midst of the storm, the be still
Right.
is in the midst of the storm. It doesn't come after everything's fixed.
No, the storm comes. The storm comes. They're in the boat and it's storming, and it's a bad boat ride. It's not a good boat ride. They are scared, and they're petrified. They know they're going to
Mhm.
die. They know they're going to die. And so all they can do is cry out, help me, save me, save me.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Jesus does. He does. He literally does it physically and literally for them in this story. But in our own story, he has to come into our boat. You
Mhm.
got to let him in the boat first.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
you can't even I mean you can't even call on him if you're not in his boat
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
he's not in your boat.
Yeah. And there's
So
ways that you can bring calm into your life. I think just pausing, breathing, you
yes.
know, saying out loud, Lord, help me be still. Lord, help me be calm in
Yes.
this moment. And, that may also just physically, in addition to that, it might be muting a group chat that's creating anxiety because, you're not staying calm through it, or stepping away before you reply to someone to pray and find calmness in that storm, taking a walk and spending that time, being still and present with Jesus when you're feeling stressed or anxiety, or praying before panicking. So there's ways to be calm. And what are the ways that, you do that in the midst of the storm and be still? Because, truly that's, I think, where it comes from. So,
Right, exactly. Well, in my community, we're close to the ocean, and so we have tsunami preparedness classes.
mhm,
And there's earthquakes going on. So they tell you to be
mhm,
prepared for the storms. So my wisdom for younger people would be get yourself prepared and be ready for when the storms are coming because
mhm.
they are going to come. There's no way around them.
Yeah.
We live on this earth where there are going to be issues and problems and things that go on. There's going to be life, there's going to be death, there's going to be,
Mhm.
there's going to be trials, there's going to be tribulations, there's going to be things that go on. And so if
Mhm.
you are able to get yourself in a frame of mind where you can
Mhm.
say when the storms start and I'm going to stop and I'm going to pray and I'm going to be
Mhm.
still and I'm going to ask the Lord to walk before me because
Yeah.
I see this storm is coming.
Yeah.
And he will do that. He will do that. He will walk
Mm.
with you in the storm.
Mhm.
In fact, we know that there are times that he carries us through the storm because
Mhm.
we can't do it on our own. And so
Right.
this is where we just calm down and
Yeah.
we let Jesus be
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yep.
Yep.
And the storm doesn't get the final word. Jesus does, and his
He
word
always
is be
he does.
still.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So
And
be calm.
so, yeah, our hope is that your week is marked by the kind of calm that only Jesus can give you. So stay steady, stay quiet, stay holy, and stay powerful in his
Yes.
word, and calm in his word. So,
Yes.
well, thank
Yes.
you again for joining us. And if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Power of 12, you can do so on our website. All the links are in this podcast. Make sure you tune in again next Wednesday. We'll have another word of the week. And of course, you can always go back and listen to previous podcasts as well. And if you're looking for a regular weekly addition into your life, we have an amazing 52-week devotion that we just launched that you can check out as well. And it's free with a donation here at Power of 12. We wish you all a blessed and wonderful week, and goodbye for now.